time for Lender's Residential Mortgage Show with our very special guest. This is his show, Rob Stern. I feel kind of funny saying guest. This is Rob Slot. He's here every Friday beginning at 1 p.m. until 1:30. You can catch Lender's Residential Mortgage here, and you can catch an amazing Rob Stern here to answer all your lenders' needs, homeowner needs. He's just a specialist in all things homes and buying and lending. So this is the place to be. Let me start out with a telephone number for you, 972-988-1040. Hold that number close to you because Rob is taking calls all during the show if you want to ask questions to him about anything. So let me just stop right there and now bring in the man, Mr. Rob Stern. Hi, Rob.
I like that introduction. Thank you very much, Tonya. Thank you. I'm doing very well, and happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, I appreciate being here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Now, I always start out with the standard introduction and the standard explanation of who Rob Stern is and what can Lender's Residential Mortgage do for the people.
I think actually probably we should start today out by explaining exactly what a mortgage company is.
Very good.
Because I think a lot of people don't even understand necessarily the benefit of a mortgage company. Absolutely. We are a direct lender as a mortgage company. What that means is that we are direct conduit to the Veterans Administration, a direct conduit to FHA and to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the United States Department of Agriculture, or USDA. A mortgage company is different from a traditional bank, meaning a bank where you go and you make you have a safety deposit box and you get CDs and car loans. We are a mortgage lender. That is what we are. That's all we do. We do mortgages. Last year we did roughly $4.5 billion of mortgages. Wow. We are a 34-year-old company and specialize, quite literally, our niche is working with first-time home buyers, individuals who have perhaps had some difficulties in the past, who may need a little bit of hand-holding or extra guidance in the path towards home ownership. Owning a home should not be a chore. It should not be a difficulty. Everybody has the ability and the right to apply for a mortgage loan and to buy a home. However, unfortunately, there are certainly scenarios and situations where people have been discouraged from the act of owning a home just because perhaps their credit's not where it should be. And we want our listeners to understand, our viewers to understand, not every mortgage company is the same. Yeah. And that's very important. Just like not every realtor is the same.
Yeah.
I've seen a customer move from one realtor to another. They couldn't find a house in 3 months with one realtor. They get a new realtor, and inside of 2 days, they're under contract. It's the same thing with mortgage lenders. Not everybody has the same level of experience or the same skill set. I've got 32 years in the industry. I have been listed with the Better Business Bureau for as long as we've been in business and had a company. We have an A++ rating, which is very important because that means we have no complaints, nothing to resolve, never had a problem. And that's the whole reason why we've aligned ourselves, why I've worked with you, Tonya, and KGGR for so long. Prior to that, it was Robert Ashley, obviously, in Heaven 97. Our goal is to enlighten and inform the community. Perhaps put a lot of people into homes who have been told no, or who have been dissuaded from home ownership for one reason or another. And it's not necessary. Perhaps they just need, like I said, a little bit of that, a little bit of love. They need a little bit of guidance, a little bit of help. And Lender's Residential Mortgage, that's who I am. That's what we're all about. Everybody is important to us. There is no such thing as a bad borrower or a bad loan. We just need to start the process. And the best way to do that is to give me a call, 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350.
Absolutely, Rob. You know what? We're going to come back to that first time home buyer, but let's talk to those folks that own a home like myself and um, maybe didn't get, I got a great rate, thank God, but maybe there are folks that did not get a good rate. Um, and so they're looking to refinance their home so they can get a better rate. Can someone switch over to lender's
Sure.
residential mortgage from the finance company that they're with at the present?
Yes, ma'am. And
How easy is that?
yes, ma'am. And let's talk through that. So the interesting thing about refinancing is that there's several reasons why people refinance their mortgage. One clearly would be perhaps for a lower payment, but another reason may be to take equity out of their home.
Mhm.
And equity would be defined as the amount of profit you have, the amount of extra money that you have between the amount you owe and the actual value of that house.
Mhm.
In the state of Texas, we've been very blessed, and over the past 2 years, we've seen an average of 18% growth annually. That means literally that somebody who purchased a $200,000 home in 2020 may have a home right now that's perhaps worth roughly $260,000 or $270,000. Just
Mhm.
huge equity growth.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible to have that level of equity. But more importantly, what I see oftentimes now are people who, again, think their credit won't allow them to refinance. Spoke to a gentleman the other day who has a 9.5% interest rate because when he bought his house, that was the going interest rate.
Yeah.
He's been in this mortgage for 19 years, and now he finally feels empowered enough to refinance his home, and that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
Not everybody has a low interest rate. Not everybody has just recently purchased their home,
Right.
and so with that being said, regardless of your situation, I think the right move is to just do a mortgage checkup. If you're a consumer right now, just check up on your mortgage, what your options are, how you can maybe save some money or better utilize your asset, perhaps disperse some of that equity to eliminate high interest credit card bills, or pay off an automobile, or
Mhm.
send the kids back to school.
Let me ask you this. Is there a limit on how much equity you can take out of a house at first time? I mean, do you have to be a year in, 2 years, 10 years in before you take a certain percentage?
I love your questions because you're a homeowner, and I know your
You
questions
know
are
why I'm
coming
asking?
from actual experience and the heart.
Yeah.
The state of Texas limits the amount of equity that you can take out of your home to 80% of the appraised value. So, as an example, if your house is appraising at $200,000, 80% of $200,000 is $160,000. If you owe less than $160,000, then the variance between that amount and the max amount that's allowable is yours to take. So if you owe $100,000 on your house and you can take out $160,000, and you would literally be able to get $60,000 at closing based on your credit worthiness and the costs involved in the transaction.
What's the process of that? Is it 30 days, 60 days, 24 hours? Before you get that check?
24 hours would be fast. It's typically at least 30 days.
Yeah.
You still need to have an appraisal done,
Mhm.
and that appraisal will dictate the transaction. So, and appraisals typically run 2 weeks or so to get in from an appraiser. But again, the whole point is, if you're a homeowner, now's the right time to call to see what your options are. If you're not a homeowner and you aspire to get out of that rent and become a homeowner, now is the right time to take action. The likelihood that we're going to see home prices go backwards is very slim. The likelihood that we're going to see interest rates change and go backwards over the next 24 months is very slim. I think right now we're looking at a situation where interest rates are fair. We may see them continue to escalate, and I think home prices are going to definitely continue to escalate in certain areas of the city. And when I say certain areas, those are typically the areas, Tonya, where we want to live.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, if you want that house, I guarantee you somebody else wants the house too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it can be a battle for a house, because when I first did it, of course, that was last year, this time around last year, like around March, April. And the market was, it was mad. It was pretty mad. And so to buy a house was like almost like a miracle. So yeah, I would ask this question too. A lot of people are first-time homeowners or wanting to become a first-time homeowner. As a expert yourself, Rob, what would be the advice you give your very own daughter or son if they were a first-time home buyer? Say the top 3 questions you need to ask a lender before you hook up with that lender company.
Well, okay, so that's 2 questions, but that's okay. So the top three, I guess the top 3 questions you should ask a lender would be, how long have you specifically been in the industry?
Very good.
As a loan officer, as a loan originator, because experience does count in this industry. I guess another question would be, what is the best program for me? What is the best type of a mortgage for me to be considering? Because there's several types of mortgages. We've got conventional loans, which would be Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. We have government-backed loans, which would be FHA or USDA or VA. And and even more to consider is, if you're a veteran, hands down, the VA loan is the best loan you'll ever get. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're a veteran, you need to use those veterans benefits, because you're going to be rewarded for your service. And, I guess probably the third question I would tell them to ask would be more of a personal question, and that is, do you guys get along? Do you get along with the person that's doing your mortgage for you? Is it a relationship where you feel like you can truly work together towards success? Because a mortgage, as you've realized, is somewhat invasive.
Yeah.
And if you don't click with the person that you're working with for that mortgage, then you clearly have the wrong relationship. Now, I would tell everybody, go to the Better Business Bureau, check whoever you're going to work with out thoroughly. If they're not listed on the Better Business Bureau as a member, then you probably don't want to do business with them. And interestingly enough, anybody can be monitored on the Better Business Bureau, but not everybody is a member. So if someone complains to the Better Business Bureau about someone who's not a member, they'll still show up on the Better Business Bureau website, but they're not a member. In my mind, if you believe in yourself, if you believe in what you do, if you believe in the quality of your work and have that level of integrity, you should certainly represent yourself that way. And Better Business Bureau is a great place to start.
Absolutely.
Like everything, there are different types of lenders out there. We are very strong government lenders, and that puts us in a very special niche. Again, VA mortgage loans with no minimum credit score, FHA loans down to a 500 credit score. That's very special, and that helps a lot of people. Helps a lot of people get into homes or refinance their homes who couldn't refinance or purchase otherwise.
And that also brings people into that thought that they probably would not be able to afford a house because their credit is not where they believe it should be. Because there were times when credit scores did need to be a certain, at a certain point system before you get a house. But with these FHA loans you're talking about, and if you're a veteran, that is just super fantastic. Now, let me go over here to the veterans again, because a lot of people don't know that veterans don't have to put any money down. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. You
Now,
are
let me
correct.
ask you, is there there's a difference between down payment and closing cost?
Well, you're catching on. You're catching on. Yes, ma'am. You're absolutely right. So a veteran will have no down payment ever. It doesn't matter if your score is a 450 or an 850. You'll never have a down payment. The amount of closing costs assessed to a mortgage loan are going to be driven by your credit score. And pretty much every mortgage loan out there will have some level of closing costs. However, we have assistance programs specifically designed for veterans to help them take care of those closing costs. So it's entirely possible for a veteran to purchase a home without any money whatsoever. Again, let me see. A credit score is driven. Credit score is what drives the risk level of a loan, and risk is what drives closing costs. The easiest way to remember it all. So clearly, the better your credit, the lower your closing costs. But whether you're a veteran or not, the reality is everybody has the ability to buy a home. Everybody has the ability to receive closing costs and down payment assistance, depending on what their credit looks like. And if your credit's not perfect, that's okay. This is who we are and what we do. We'll get you where you want to be, but you got to make that first step and give us a call. You got to start somewhere, and absolutely today is the day.
Yes, absolutely. You're listening to Rob Stern of Lenders Residential Mortgage, and Rob is here for you to give him a call personally. Rob is giving you his personal number to call him on 972-739-2350. If you have any questions, I know a lot of times people don't like to call in, so he will take your calls off the air when we leave here. He'll take your calls personally. Again, 972-739-2350. Rob, let me ask you about transferring benefits. Someone asked me to clarify this I think we talked about this maybe 2 weeks ago when so someone asked me to ask you to clarify the transferring of the benefit from a veteran to a family member other than the wife. Can the benefits of a veteran, say my dad fought in the Korean War, and but my mom and dad are both deceased. Would one of my siblings or myself be able to transfer his benefits to, his children now in some way or another to get a home?
It depends. So typically, veterans benefits are designed for the veteran and the veteran's spouse. Now, if the veteran deceased because of war-related injuries, then it may very well be transferable to his children.
And it has to be war-related.
Yes, ma'am, a war-related injury. So typically the best thing for anybody to do if they have any doubt is to just reach out to the VA. The Veterans Administration is available. They're very helpful. They have several different operations centers throughout the country. We have one in Waco. There's another one in Houston. I think that, again, I can't stress enough, if you are a veteran or the widow or the spouse of a veteran, there's no reason not to try and utilize these benefits to become a homeowner. I don't understand why anybody would rent if they don't have to.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about some success stories. I always love a good story of, a true story of, seeing how a company has transformed people's lives. And that's what you do at Lenders Residential Mortgage all the time, Rob. You guys are transforming people's lives because owning a home is a big deal. What we call it, Americans, it's an American's piece of the pie. And it's one of the main dreams of any American is to own their own home. So let me ask you to give us some good story, a story of someone that came in, Rob, and maybe they were, as people would say, aged out. Let's just say they were 60 and older, and they were first-time homeowner, and they didn't think they could get it. Give us one of your success.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so probably 60 days or so ago, I had a young lady who was a little over 65 years old that came in to purchase a home. She was actually the widow of a veteran.
Oh, wow.
And after a little bit of work, she was not only able to buy a home, but she was able to purchase the perfect home. Required a very patient realtor. Realtor did a great job with her, and we worked with her for quite a while to get her where she needs to be. I think the real beautiful thing about this is her credit was not perfect by any stretch, but we were able to make the loan work for her simply because she was willing to cooperate with us and provide us what it was that we needed. You know, a lot of veterans receive veterans benefits. As a veteran, those benefits actually can be increased by 25%, meaning if you get $2,000 a month, I'm going to count it as $2,500 a month in income. As a veteran, you also may receive a pension. I had a young lady I'm working with right now who is actually moving back to Texas from Korea, where she was working for the veteran as a veteran, or where she was deployed, and she's moving back here with her VA benefits, and she receives income from the Department of Defense as well as from the VA, and her husband is also a veteran, and they're moving back here, and we'll be putting them into a home probably next month. They'll be closing. I do so much work with veterans, and I think that really it's I think, you know what I think it is? I think it's intimidating. I think a lot of people are intimidated by the word credit, and a lot of people are intimidated by the word mortgage.
Yes.
And I really feel like that's unfortunate. That's the whole thing that you and I strive to do away with. Obviously, we want everybody to understand exactly what's happening in life and the benefits that they have available to them, whether you're a veteran or a home buyer, just in general. I think something else that I've been able to discover over my career is that typically people who have difficulties with their credit are embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
And that leads, not, I won't say to shame, that's the wrong word, but I think that leads to some of the apprehension when it comes to trying to purchase a home.
Right.
People realize that I don't think any of us really set out with the intention of jacking up our credit. It just, life happens.
Life happens. Yeah.
And yes, ma'am. There's nothing we can do about that necessarily. But people, like I said, people come to me and they'll say, "Well, Mr. Stern, I don't know if you can help me because I've had some problems when I was in college. I took a credit card like they give to all the college kids, and I wasn't able to pay it back. And we put these people into homes. It's just a matter of consistency. It's just a matter of working together. And you can't
together part.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
You have to be open to change, open to instruction, and it's a blessing to be on a team where we can all work together towards success.
Absolutely. Rob, we're running out of time here. As always, give us your contact information and tell folks how they can reach you real fast.
Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. My telephone number, again, is 972-739-2350. That's 972-739-2350. You can also find me on the internet. Just go to Lenders Texas, spelled out LENDERSTEXAS.com, or please find me on Facebook as the Lenders Residential Mortgage Team, and I'll do whatever I can to help anytime, any place.
Rob, it's always a pleasure to see you. We'll see you back here next Friday.
Absolutely. And I thank you so much for everything, Tonya.
All right, Rob, take care. Again, that's Lenders Residential Mortgage right here every Friday, 1 p.m. until 1:30 with Rob Stern on Great Gospel Radio, 1040 a.m. KGTR.
Thank you, Tonya. God bless you, honey.
Great vacation.
Yes, ma'am. I'll see you later.
Lots of rest. Bye-bye.